All right, Shalom Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Akal Kwadash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. Perilous times. We in perilous times, and we see it's not getting any better. And as we see in this article I got up here, all right, which is entitled American Clinics Report Up to 400% Rise in Abortion Requests. If there's a COVID-19 economic collapse, this will get much worse. And we have to know that to prepare ourselves. Okay? We have to know that to prepare ourselves. All right? That is going to get much worse out here. So instead of, as you have most people looking and hoping and saying what they're going to do when this thing is over, prepare for the worst. Prepare for the worst. Just because you hope it'll get better. Hey, man, the Lord gives us eyes to see, man. That's why he tells us to watch as well as pray. Of course, hey, you got to watch, man. The Most High gave us wisdom, all right? And along with faith, of course. But wisdom, nonetheless. To watch him. As we see, things are not getting better. It's already April, all right? The first half of the year is in June, which in a business aspect, when 2 consecutive quarters of the year, all right, a quarter is 3 months. So in 6 months of the year, if business is not getting better, that's known as a recession. Then what happens after June, man? After June, more than half of the year, all right, will be spent downtrodden, man. More than half of the year will be spent at a standstill. All right. So as this article reads, having a child right now feels like a big luxury. Facing an out-of-control disease, a grim economic climate, and with some states banning abortions as non-essentials, many women are rushing to terminate their pregnancies, right? Because at one point in life, at one point in time, it was actually a beautiful thing to have a kid. Esau was giving, money to mothers, single mothers with, the more kids you have, the more money you will receive. But now it's a liability. It's hard for you to fend for yourself, let alone an extra mouth to feed. And people are starting to finally wake up. All right, which most people still aren't, but certain people, they're starting to see that it's not, as they say, rose-colored glasses. Rose-covered glasses, man. It's actually a grim future for this place, man. All right, and this just shows what time we in. As I mentioned before, perilous times are coming. All right, as it says in real quick, this is second. I think it's Second Timothy's or Second Peter's. Let's see, it's locked here. First Timothy's. That might be Second Timothy's thing. Second Timothy chapter 3. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. This know also that in the last days, perilous or dangerous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves. So instead of looking at another person, I'm looking out for myself, man. And that's how it's going to be. And it's going to get even worse especially since the resources, will get even harsh, even scarcer. Because you can expand more the more resources you have. Why a lot of people don't have kids because they don't have the money. People that are rich, they don't care about having multiple kids. It's not a burden to them, man. But you see, right now the resources are drying up. All right, so whatever they have left, they're looking at it for themselves, man. Men shall be lovers of themselves. Okay, they looking out for what's best for them. All right, and hey, that's to me, that's got to be the most selfish thing in the world, man. Here it is, you willing to kill your own flesh and blood, man. You willing to kill your own flesh and blood. All right, the scriptures say, "Thou shalt not kill," man. All right, but you feel like it's necessity. All right, nevertheless, you will get judged for that. But dangerous times are here. Okay, so we read on. The coronavirus pandemic has impacted every aspect of life in the United States, including one deeply controversial topic: abortions. Several states, including Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Ohio, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Texas, are trying to ban abortions, calling them non-essential procedures in the wake of a public health crisis. As a result, some clinics have closed while others are experiencing a spike in requests from women hoping to get an abortion while they still can. The Trust Woman Abortion Clinic in Wichita, Kansas, reported performing 252 abortions in March, up from 90 in March 2019. Julie Burkhart, the chief executive of Trust Woman, told RT this week that between the Wichita, Kansas clinic and her other clinic in Oklahoma City, which was briefly closed but has since reopened, they have seen a 300 to 400, again, that's a 300 to 400% increase in their patient load. The women who have been calling are uncertain about having a baby when the world is so unpredictable all of a sudden, and they're worried about money due to sharp rise in unemployment. She said, "We've been seeing a woman calling earlier than usual in their pregnancy, and there's this urgent nature to it." Burkhart said that several of the people that she spoke to on the phone at her Oklahoma City center asked if she could assure them that the governor wouldn't take steps to ban abortions. Given that they've had so many appointments canceled in their home states as a result of the bans, these women are under the intense anxiety of not knowing if they will be able to get an abortion at all, so it feels like now or never. And it hasn't even really got bad yet. There's talks about how the government is mandating these farmers to euthanize or kill their cattle, as well as destroy crop, you know, um, destroy crop, pour out milk, things that are essential to society, man. So if people are afraid and taking measures for themselves now, how much more when less and less resources are available to you? All right. Those that have kids, guess what? You're going to be eating your kids. And that's in the history. All right. 70 AD. It was a time in the book of, I just grab it in the book of 2 Kings. Because, hey, history repeats itself, as the old saying goes. History repeats itself. So this is 2 Kings chapter 6, Verse 25, and there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cap of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. So a small portion of food, it's going to get so bad that a small portion of food is going to be a lot of money. You know? A small portion of food is going to be a lot of money. All right, and here it is. Esau is telling these farmers to get rid of their crop, get rid of their food, and they will be supplied food. Okay? And we all know you can't trust this devil because he says one thing just to have control. And when he has control, all hell is broken loose. You know? So, hey, death is coming, man. Perilous times are here. I can't even say it's coming, it's here. All right? And month by month, the more restless people get, all right, the more binge shopping they go because people are noticing that it's less food. So what? Now they stocking up more. All right, they're going here, they're going there, they're going here, they're going there. All right, to stock up on food, man. So what happens when all the food is gone? All right, you may have food, you may continue to still have food coming in, but rest assured, it won't be nearly as efficient. All right, as it is this day, as it is now. Okay, this is Isaiah chapter 9, verse 19. I start at 18. For wickedness burneth as the fire, it shall devour the briars and thorns, and shall kindle in the thickets of the forest, and they shall mount up like the lifting up of smoke. All right, because 2/3, as it says in Jeremiah 16, are going to die because of their wicked deeds. All right, because they refuse to hearken to the prophets. Hey, therefore they're going to die a painful death. And starvation is a very painful death, as it says in Lamentations 4:9. Those that die with the sword are better than they that die of hunger. But they that die of hunger pine away. All right, and I'm gonna read this article real quick, but hey, actually, let me finish this precept. Verse 19, it says, through the wrath of the Lord of hosts, through the wrath of the Lord of hosts is the land darkened, and the people shall be as the fuel of fire. No man shall spare his brother. Right? And people don't spare each other now with a more abundance of resources. You're still able to go, to the fast food restaurants and, go shopping. You have certain 7-Elevens that's still considered essential, 24-hour joints, and people are, cutthroat now. People kill each other over a pair of Jordans. A man, overstep his so-called friend for a higher position on the same job. They may be at the same job. You and this man cool, but you might overstep him for a particular position. So if people don't spare each other now, when there are resources, how much less do you think they're going to spare each other when there aren't any resources? Okay. The scriptures in 2nd Ezra 15, all right, says that a man shall not pity his neighbor. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 15 and 18. I start at 15 and 15. All right, so it says, 15 and 14. Let me see. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hand. And we see that slowly but surely. All right. You have people that's against this lockdown, and you got people that's for this lockdown. All right. You got people, one nationality of people, or you may have a multitude of nationalities of people blaming this one nationality of people. Like, for example, America, you got these Americans, these so-called white people. All right. Even certain blacks and Hispanics, tribes of tribes, they're blaming these Chinese, uh, you know, for this coronavirus pandemic. And a lot of these people, a lot of these so-called whites or Hispanics or whatever, they have close friends or relatives that have died from supposedly the COVID-19. All right. And when you see the supposed victim, when you see a supposed culprit, you're gonna want to take his head off, man. Because people are gonna be thinking more emotionally as they do to this very day. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh. Verse verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. And the less results people get, the more they're gonna take action upon themselves. Here it is, you're trusting in your government, all right, to come through for you. But the more they keep pushing it back, we're gonna open up the government. We're gonna open up stores and stuff in this state. Then they push it back 2 weeks later. Then they keep pushing it back. Then they keep pushing it back. This is probably why Esau is opening up certain parks, all right, to appease the people somewhat. But it's not working. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right. And that's Jake's MO, man. That's Jake's MO. If I don't got it, hey, somebody got to die so I can get it. All right, here it is. A man could have. I remember going to school with this one Jake, and he dressed nice or whatever, but he still felt the need to rob people. So you got little gremlins like that walking around now. How much more in that day? Niggas call themselves goons and goblins, and they listen to, these rappers putting wickedness in their ear. Hey, they gonna be with it in that day. They with it now. You gonna have the average Edomite, which is already damn selfish. He gonna be knocking off his neighbor. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, verse 19, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So for the lack of food, for the lack of food, more dangerous times are coming. Okay? And that's really what I wasn't really planning on reading this whole article, but it just goes to show you, desperate time calls for desperate measures. Okay, that's really the point. And I might have deleted it. Fuck. Let me see. Okay, just quick Google search. How long can a human? I forgot. Oh yeah, how long does it take a person to starve? I put. So it says generally it appears as though humans can survive without any food for 30 to 40 days as long as they are properly hydrated. And we know that's not the case because most people, they smoke, all right, and they drink sugary drinks. And sugar, that's one of the quickest ways, sugar and salt, that's one of the quickest ways to dehydrate yourself. Severe symptoms of starvation begin around 35 to 40 days, and as highlighted by the hunger strikers of the Maze prison in Belfast in the 1980s, death can occur at around 45 to 61 days. All right, but that's a very long time without food. All right, you stop thinking straight. All right, all rationality goes out the window. You just looking for that next meal. You know, food is gonna be money in that day. You know how people going back into how these gremlin jakes, they knock a dude over the head. All right, to take his money. Well, guess what? They're gonna be knocking the dude over the head to eat him. That's how bad it's gonna get out here. All right, as we always go into, and even in 70 AD, when you go into the statistics of it, it wasn't too long after Titus besieged the city that starvation actually began to happen. And of course, back then you had niggas. You had to do Eleazar and the Sakari. They were knocking Jake over the head, taking their food, and when there was none left, they were eating belts, and they were eating their horses. They were eating they were even eating their horses' dung. All right, so it's about to get bad out here, man. You know, so just something quick. Starvation, perilous times, and death. Even as Yahweh told the women, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves. You know, I'm trying to, let me see if I can remember. I'll probably grab that real quick before I end it out. So this is Luke chapter 23, verse 28. And this goes to show you how bad it was going to get for our people. All right. So it says Luke 23 and 27. And there followed him a great company of people and of women, which also bewailed him and lamented him. You know, so going to show you too that you will have certain sisters that believe on Yahweh Shai. But Yahweh Shai turning unto them said, daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, the days are coming in the which they shall say, blessed are the barren and the woman that never bare, and the paps which never gave suck. Then shall they begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. Right. You know, and Yahweh Shai he was about to get crucified. Everybody wanted him dead. He was enemy number one. But he was still saying, look, don't worry about me. Just imagine what you gonna go through. Which is a comforting precept as well, going to show you that whatever we may go through, 2/3 is going to get a lot worse. You know, those that's not, you know, I mean, because we're going to be out here too. You know what I'm saying? But those is going to be stuck like without anything, hey, man, they're going to get it a lot worse. You know? Hey, man, so with that, Lord willing, Joachim will edify. Shalom to the elect.